Welcome to another episode of Get Swifty. Last time we finished up our app with moving the countries list to another screen and then bringing a dashboard to the very front of the app. So when you first launch the app, you see this dashboard, not the country list. This time around, we are going to add some more details to the dashboard. Last time we did some work on the detail country view. So originally this was going to pop up after you tapped on a country in the list. This time I'm going to repurpose this and I'm going to throw it at the bottom of the dashboard screen. And this is where we'll show our graphs for whatever country you've selected. So at the moment, what we'll need to do is we'll just grab our detail country view, throw it on to the dashboard and see what happens. In fact, I might even rename this to dashboard because I've been using that term instead of summary, so it makes more sense to do it this way. So on this screen, I will replace this text that's showing the country slug with our detail country view passing in the slug there. Let's see how that goes. Let's build and run that. Okay, so we've got nothing showing up here. That's okay, I wouldn't expect it to work immediately. So what we might need to do is take a look at how this screen, the country detail view, is being loaded and see if we can get it to populate some information down here. Okay, so inside the detail country view, we need to call this API service getStats when this is presented. So we need to change this to onAppear. And I'm just going to grab this part of it and run it with the slug. And we'll get an error on that, but I will fix that. We will create an initializer that takes the slug. Now that that's set up, this here should be fine. And what we'll do is we'll run the app and see how that looks. Okay, so there's still nothing showing up at the bottom here, and I think that's because we haven't selected a country yet. There we go. We now have a number 484. Let's see what happens if we change. Okay, so now it's not automatically updating. And I think I have an idea to fix this. So let's go back to Xcode. I'm going to move this getStats out and put it in the initializer. So onAppear, it's probably not going to be called because it's already in view when we do the second load. And this should be okay, this should work. So let's build and run that. 119. Switch it out. There we go. That number updates. So this means this bottom section where we're going to put the graphs will automatically update now after changing the country. Something else we may need to do is put a button here for the country selection or an empty data state because when the app first loads, it's going to have nothing and the user won't know what to do. They won't know that they need to tap up here. So what we'll do is we'll make it a bit easier and put like a large button and a little error message at the bottom or something like that. Let's do that first up. And this will toggle the show country selection screen. In preview, we've got our choose country button here. Let's add some padding. Okay, so let's jump back over to the country view. And in here, I think I will create a preview. And I will pass in detail country with a slug and we'll use my country. There we go, we got a number showing up there, great. I'm just going to borrow the same style we have in the global stats view. So what I'm going to do is change this get stats. At the moment, this call only returns cases and a little bit of other information about the country. We need to change it up so that it returns active, recovered, and any current cases that happened in the last day. So in order to do that, I think what we need to do is just remove the end of that URL. And we'll need to go back to our live stats struct and change this so that it matches the data coming back from the API. Okay, now if we try and build and run that, we're going to get an error. We can fix this by changing it to confirmed. We will run it in our preview. There we go. That's the same number as before, but now we get a little bit more data. So let's add those extra fields there too. Okay, now let's try that out in our preview. Awesome. Change this to a H stack. And that looks okay to me. And we'll swap these. And let's readjust the alignment on this. So with the H stack, you actually have a few more options than what you would with the V stack. We can change this to something like, and we'll rerun. We see that the vertical alignment changes up just a little bit. What if we did last text baseline? And now all the sub headlines here are all lined up. I think that looks much neater. I might actually reduce the size of the padding on these two. Yeah, so that's a bit tighter around the labels there. So let's see how that looks in the simulator with the dashboard stuck above it. Loading, and there we go. So we've got the global stats up here for the current active cases worldwide. Here we've got our confirmed, that's total confirmed cases, and the number of recovered. And then here we've got information on the country that we've selected. So I think what we need to do now is add a little bit of separation here. Putting the country title is probably the best way to go. And since we're going to be putting graphs and extra information down the bottom here, we'll probably want to put this all in a scroll view. So coming back over the dashboard view, this is all easy enough. We just wrap the entire thing in a scroll view. There we go. Now it's all been pushed up to the top of the screen. Looks pretty good. So what we wanted before now is a little bit of separation. So let's just add the country title. I'm just going to put the slug in there for now, and we'll set the font to title. There we go. I will capitalize this text and add a little bit more padding above it. Now, I think in some cases, these slugs have got dashes and stuff in them. We may have to filter them out for, countries that have multiple words in the title, but we'll come back to that later. For now, we'll just capitalize that first letter, and we will add some more padding to the top. So to do that, we can go top, and we can set this to, let's do maybe 40. Have a look at that. And this time I'll run it in the preview in here. I'm going to choose a country. Let's try this one with the spaces in it, so we can see how that looks. As we figured, there is these dashes. So what we can do is we can strip those out. Fairly easy. I'll look over here, now it's filtered out. The annoying thing is, like, these middle words and stuff are going to be capitalized as well. I can come in here and change replacing occurrences of and handling them individually. So like, and will just not be capitalized and things like that. But I think at this point, it's probably completely fine to just leave it as is. And what I want to do is left align this So we'll definitely have to use a VStack for this. Let that run again, and we'll set the alignment. I think by default these are center aligned, and you see that this text is now off to the left. Okay, so let's jump back over to our detail country view and take a look at what we can put down here down the bottom for as far as graphs go. So we've got our full group here for our stats at the top. What I want to do now is add another section, which will probably be a VStack. Okay, so what we're going to do is go over to Google and see if we can find a SwiftUI charts library that we can just drop into our app and use. Grab the URL. Here it says we can go File, Swift Packages, Add Package Dependency. There is also another way of doing this, so I'll show you that as well. So if you go into, you click on your project at the top on the left panel here, and you click on Project, not Target, Project, and you get Swift Packages. You can hit the plus button here, put in the URL. Xcode will search for it, and I usually just go with the defaults. If I'm doing testing on my own packages, I'll switch it over to a branch or a particular commit. And then of course we need to import it. SwiftUI charts. And then down inside our VStack, we will use it. So let's run that. Okay, so that's the end of part 3 of this series. There's still a lot of work to do, especially in the way of design. But next time around, we're going to focus on getting a widget built for iOS 14. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.